We're finally here. InspireX Radio. It's been a journey, man. And I'm gonna be honest, I could not wait. I couldn't wait, man. I couldn't wait to share my journey with the world, with the whole earth. All right. So let's get it, man. So in this episode, what I want to do, I want to kind of share with you all, with my friends, with my family, my journey, bro. Like, I've been on a journey, man. It's been real. And part of me feel like I don't know where to begin. We can start where 7 years, 5.5, going on 6 years ago, where I left my job. We can start there. Or we can start where I actually started shifting my mindset and actually elevating my thoughts so that I can see the world differently or create the world I want to live in, right? We can start there, or just talk about some of the things I've endured in my marriage, some of the circumstances, struggles I've faced in my marriage. We can start so many places, but what I want to do, I want to kind of throw this out there. Man, what does it mean to inspire, man? InspireX Radio is a powerful platform, and I can't wait to share with you all, have some of my friends up here, some of my partners, my connections, and just share their journeys. And what I really want to do is create a platform where we share real-time stories, right? Real stories, real people. Man. So let's get it. So I've been on this journey, really just changing and shifting my mindset, right? Once again, welcome to InspireX Radio. Let's get it. So I've been on this journey of really shifting my mindset, and I believe my journey started, if I can be honest, when I left my job. Now, here's a disclaimer. I'm not telling you this story, my experiences. I'm not telling you to just jump ship, all right? I'm not telling you jump ship and leave your job. That's not why I'm sharing with you my experiences. But I want to kind of just paint the picture of what it took for me to find and discover me, right? The enemy. What did it really take for me to break the image I was aligned with, and also start walking in the identity of my creator, right? The Most High God. Let's go, right? So 6 years ago, I say 6 years because this year will make 6 years. I decided to do the craziest thing I ever done in my life, and that was leave a government job. For some of y'all out there that's like, yo, this dude is crazy. Why in the world would you leave your job? Let me tell you something, man. When you're working, getting up like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning just to make it to working 9 to 5. And once again, I'm not bashing. I'm not coming against anyone that's working a 9 to 5. Like, by all means, do what you're doing. As long as you're making impact in your workspace, right? As long as you're inspiring, that's what it's all about. But it was something when I would clock in and making good money, right? Making good money as a man, as a black person, it's not in today's time, making $80,000 to $100,000 a year. That's some good money. You know what I'm saying? And I decided to leave, right? But why? I'm telling y'all, while I was there was something pulling at me, man. There was something I was starting to get uneasy with showing up. I was a hard worker. Any space, any job I've had, I've always been a hard worker, right? I would watch my father. He would get up early in the morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And my father had like 9 businesses, right? From carpentry work, painting. He's a painter. He's a mechanic, truck driver. He has a janitorial business. Like he was doing a whole lot of things, man. He's like a jack of all trade, right? So I would watch my father work hard, and that kind of instilled in me the go-getter or the working mentality, right? It's hard for me to sit still. It's hard for me to sit in one place. I have to go get it. So I wasn't that individual who would show up to work and just lazy, disgruntled, or whatever the case is. I was doing my due diligence, right? I was doing my duties, my responsibility. I was handling my business. Let's go. But while I was there, something was missing. I'll never forget, man. There was one of my higher ups, one of my like a director position. He came to me one day. He said, "Yo, Tolbert, or Sam. They'll call me either my my last name. If you're prior military or in the military, they'll call you by your last name, or whatever name you tell them. So he would pull me to the side like, yo, I've been watching you walk through this work site and this building, and we're like, what do you do outside of this, right? And here's where it gets tricky, or here's where I really want you to kind of lean into what I'm about to share with y'all. Like, what do you do outside of this? Right. So my wife and I, we discuss a whole lot about finding meaning over doing. A lot of times we get caught up on doing the most in the earth. And when you get caught up in doing the most in the earth, guess what? It's hard for you to find purpose. Right. It's hard for you to find that sense of fulfillment because you're so caught up in trying to do the most. Let me tell you something. Purpose has nothing. It has less to do with what you do and more to do with what you mean. Right. Y'all can write that down. It don't matter. So my wife and I, we talk about finding meaning in the earth. We talk about meaning over doing, bro. And so he was like, yo, what do you do outside of this? Because I will see you walk through here and it seems like there's more to you. Man, it's amazing to me that there are people around you, and I feel like God would place people around you, and I call it purpose calling, right? I consider that purpose calling you. Like, he starts showing you things, showing you visions. People randomly walk up to you and is telling you about your life. So he was like, yo, there's something different about you, and I feel like what do you do outside of this? Now, at the time, I was playing for different churches as a keyboard player, minister music, as a musical director, MD. I played for different events or whatever the case is. But once again, it kind of had me stuck. Like, wait a minute. I know I'm a keyboard player. I know I can step on a platform, on a stage, and lead individuals to the presence of God, right? Like, as a worshiper, as a worship leader. But there's more to me, right? And I'm not gonna even get into how a lot of our brothers and sisters believe that their position in a church is their purpose. Man, I don't. I'll be on that all day. But he was like, "Yo, what do you do like outside of this? Like, you clock in every day. Like, what is it?" And that question, him asking me that, really sat with me, man. Y'all gotta understand. Once again, purpose was calling me, right? There was purpose calling me. Like, it didn't matter how much money I was making. I could have made, like, it didn't matter that, like, there was something deeper calling to me. There was something that was calling to me and trying to pull me into alignment of the will that was already laid out, right? The plan, the perfect plan that was already laid out. So I sat with that for like months, right? My higher up speaking to me, and I'm gonna fast forward. Eventually, I ended up leaving my job, wrote my 2-week letter, resignation letter, and I ended up leaving. Man, and some of y'all can agree. And when it's time to leave a place, you start. If you're like me, you start to use up your leave, right? You start to use up your leave, calling out sick, whatever the case is. But anyways. I end up leaving, and let me tell y'all something. This journey has been the hardest journey of my life. One, because my identity was challenged. Man, my identity was challenged because it was a time in my life where I thought me playing the keyboard, playing music for individuals or different settings. I thought that was my identity. Even my job, like, I was able to bring in money, man, make sure my household is taken care of. Like, that's identity, right? Wrong. I thought that was my identity. So I went into a season where I went through an identity crisis. Man, so I went through this identity crisis. I didn't know who I was, trying to find that connection within myself. And my wife would see me start to unravel. Like, she would see me struggling, man. Like, days, like, struggling. Once again, this is within the last 6 years. And it wasn't until I stopped wrestling with the idea that, yo, there is more. right? I'm telling y'all, sometimes you can get so caught up in the mundanes of life, or you can get caught up in the routine of life, and you forget, like, yo, there's something deeper than this. There's something bigger than this, right? There's something as far as your eyes can see, right? A lot of times when you try to see with your natural eyes what you could accomplish and what you could do, you limit how far you can go, right? You begin to limit that, man. So I said, yo, I gotta open my spiritual eyes. I gotta see as far as my mind can see. It's no longer as far as my natural eyes can see. It's how far my mind can see, right? How far how wide my mind can believe. So this journey has really been stretching my mind. It caused me to break my mind. Like I had to break my mind, man, for real. I had to go back to the things that I was taught, my environment I was raised up in. And I'm not saying that I came up in a bad, toxic environment. What I'm saying is there are things that wasn't complimentary, or it didn't complement where I was headed. There we go. Like it did not complement where God had like his plans for my life. So I had to challenge a whole lot, and it caused me to start to right, unearth those things that didn't belong or wasn't conducive to me growing in purpose, right, growing in future. So I began to really focus on my mindset. The crazy thing about it, coming into this year, and I shared this with some of my brothers. I'm like, yo, the phrase for me and my focus for this year, 2024, it's mental health. At the end of the day, mental health. A lot of times, we want the success. A lot of times we want to do so much in the earth, man, but with a broken mind. Sometimes you can get to a place that is for you, and you can fumble that place because you don't have the right mindset. You can fumble that place because you don't have the right mentality. So I had to break my mentality, had to break my mindset, right? Romans 12 talks about be not conformed to the patterns of this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I had to renew my mindset, right? I had to break the image, and I could talk about image in another episode, but I had to break that identity in which I was aligned to. Right. I thought I was what I was doing in the earth. I failed to find meaning. Just to bring me to this place, right? This point of my life where now I'm building out loud, man. I'm starting to build things that I'm able to see once again, as far as your eyes, as far as your mind can see, build, right? And a lot of times, and for myself, I was very fearful. I didn't have the confidence to build what I saw, right? And this is something you all gonna have to get over and to get used to. There are gonna be people that just don't believe how deep you believe, right? There gonna be some people that don't have the faith that you have to see beyond what you can even imagine, right? See beyond your current condition, see beyond your current place, see beyond how you was brought up, see beyond like your current circumstance. Like there are people who's going to speak against it. There are people that are going to try to distract you from pursuing greater, right? There are people that's going to distract you from pursuing greater. But anyways, so I began to really focus on my mindset, right? I started reading books about the mind, changing your thoughts, right? Changing your patterns, changing your habits, changing the cycles, breaking the cycles. And once again, we're going to go more into this in a later episode, man. But breaking those habits, man. And I can share this with y'all. When it comes to habit, right? I need y'all to listen. When it comes to habit, I look at habits, patterns, and cycles like building a house, right? Your habits is the foundation of your house. It's what your house sits on, right? So if you ever want to know what type of house you have, look at the foundation. Seriously. Look at the habit, like look at your habits. And some of us are struggling because we have toxic habits, right? Some of us are struggling because we have habits that we don't want to break, and that therefore our house is broken. Our house is failing. Our house is falling apart, right? Why? Because we don't want to focus and change our negative habits. Then we look at cycles. Something I found out is cycles is considered the structure of your house. It's the beams, right? It's the pillars. It's what make your house stand, man. Some of us are dealing with cycles, and we found ourselves falling into cycles. But one thing I realized, that if you want to change your cycles, you got to change your habits, right? If you want to change your cycles and those generational expectations, you have to change your habits. Then we look at this the patterns that we found ourselves falling into, those routines, those seasonal routines, right? Those patterns is what paints our house. It's what colors, right? It's the thoughts. It's those ideals, those negative. It colors our house. These are the things I had to work on in the last 6 years. I had to work on, really focus on changing my mindset, breaking my mindset, because the reality is your mindset is what sits on the foundations of your mind. Like your mentality is what sits on the foundation, on the habits. There we go. It sits on the habits, man. So I spent the last 6 years really targeting my habits. And no, I'm not perfect. No, I'm not there. But yes, there's growth, right? There's maturity in the last 6 years. There's growth and maturity. And that's what it's all about. When we talk about purpose, once again, I told you I struggle with understanding my purpose. Something I share with individuals I come in contact with, individuals I meet. A lot of time we try to talk about, man, I'm trying to pursue my purpose. What's my purpose? And we have to understand, before you understand your purpose, before you get to purpose, you got to know who you are, right? Your identity, the understanding of identity precedes purpose, right? You start to understand who you are. Now you start to see the road that is laid out before you. Sometimes when you find yourself in toxic, or you find yourself walking this line or walking in this false identity, you begin to build this faux purpose, right? This false purpose, this false sense of purpose. And that's only that purpose was only created based on a persona who you're trying to be, right? And a lot of times who we're trying to be, it stems from our brokenness. It stems from our past. And when you're not careful, you begin to think that you are your brokenness. You begin to think that you are your past. And that begins to shape your identity. Therefore, it shapes your sense of purpose. So this is what I had to struggle with. This is what I had to face in my life. I had to face the enemy, right? I had to face the enemy. Another thing I had to face was that inner child, right? We don't talk about this a lot, but I had to face the inner child. Man, when you talk about going back to those places where you felt dropped, or you felt neglected, or you felt disappointed, like you start really facing those moments. You're going into those spaces where, yeah, he's still there. He or she is still there, right? And now you have to begin to understand. And I hear this a lot, man. Individuals saying, man, you got to die to your past, and you got to kill that past, move on so you can find and discover a future. Let me help you out. Here's where emotional intelligence and also growth and maturity makes sense. When you begin to go back to those spaces where that once broke you, or those spaces where you found the most pain and the most frustration, whether it's trauma, whatever the case is, whatever the case, when you start going back to those places, you're now learning from past versions of yourself. That was me. Like I didn't want to bury that inner child. I don't want to bury the past versions of Sam. I want to learn from Sam. I want to learn from him. Right? That's maturity, when you're able to go back, and it's also healing when you're able to go back and begin to learn from past versions of yourself. That's when you start to experience like fullness, like that fullness of healing, right? And I feel like that is real growth. That's real growth. So I found myself, and when fast forward, I found myself in a place where I start elevating my thoughts, right? I wanted to elevate my thinking. And I'm actually in a space now where I'm writing this book called Potential to Purpose, The Power of Intentional Thinking, all right? Potential to Purpose. And this book will be released this year. So I'm excited. Let's go. Stop playing. So Potential to Purpose, the power of intentional thinking. And in this book, I kind of share with you all, yes, my journey, but I give you a framework to follow. I give you a framework. One in particular, there's some called the Move and Soar model, MIV-SOAR. MIV-SOAR, the Move and Soar, that focuses on using the acronym MIV, MV, SOAR. M stands for mindset. V stands for value, which includes your self-value, self-worth, self-image. The S stands for strength. The O stands for obstacles, finding opportunities to leverage the obstacles, right? Instead of looking at failure as, oh man, I didn't win. No, look at it, yo, this is a success. Like I failed forward, right? So obstacles, accountability for the A, and then R is responsibility, right? So I want to share with y'all the responsibility piece, and I'm not gonna go into the entire framework here, but here's the responsibility piece. I had to take responsibility of my own emotions. I had to take responsibility of my own purpose. I had to take responsibility of my own journey, my own destiny. A lot of times we find ourselves blaming those around us. We start blaming our circumstance. We start blaming our environments. We start blaming people that left our life. But here's the responsibility. Here's the mature piece, right? When we talk about a maturity, you have to get to that place where, hold up, no, I'm responsible for my own fire of burden, right? I told y'all, like, no one, I didn't get fired from my job. I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision. Should I leave or should I stay, right? In that moment, I had to become responsible for the burden that was on me. I had to become responsible for the fire of purpose that was burning deep down inside of me, right? A lot of times we don't want to be responsible for the purpose that God has given us. We don't want to be responsible because it comes with self-healing, right? It comes with, it's uncomfortable. The truth is, to become responsible in many cases is uncomfortable because it requires you to go through that deep healing. It requires you to mature and grow up. You know what I'm saying? It is uncomfortable. By default, and even as a child, and you can look in psychology, it talks about this. By default, in those developmental years, we always look for comfort. We always tend to lean towards what's comfortable for us. That sense of safety. And a lot of times in this false identity, we find safety there. In this false identity, we find comfort there. And in my job as the number one thought-seeking coach, and for some of y'all that don't know, I am the number one thought-seeking coach where I help liberate individuals from self-limiting beliefs, right? So that they're empowered to move and soar in purpose. MIV-SOAR. So self-limiting belief, there are some beliefs that you think of yourself, like you think you can't make it. You think there's nothing greater than where you are. You think that you can't move beyond the place that you're in. Why? Because a lot of times we've become comfortable with the persona we've created for ourselves. We've become comfortable with posting these beautiful pictures and this fake life on social media. We've become comfortable. But it's different when you begin to take responsibility. It's not even just of your actions, but take responsibility of what's burning on the inside. Take responsibility of that burden that's on you. I'm talking about the burden, the fire that keeps you up at night and you try to ignore and you wonder why you can't sleep. Yeah, that's purpose calling you. You wonder why you can't sleep. That's purpose calling you. That's purpose. So the question is, how long will you continue to push purpose away? How long will you continue to push purpose on the back burner? How long will you continue to stay in the state of potential? Once again, when we move from potential to purpose, man, I can't wait for this book to come out, man. I can't wait, y'all. Man, y'all are in for a treat. Let's go. But when we're talking about moving from potential to purpose, how long will you continue to live in potential? Real quick, just to go back, man, growing up, I'm going to start with high school, playing basketball in high school. Oh, man, I was considered a high flyer For some of y'all that don't know, a high flyer is someone that's able to play above the rim, right? They could jump high. There you go. And finish above the rim. I was considered a high flyer. And I remember there was a moment, just one time in particular, where I jumped from dang near the free throw line. And so for some of y'all that never saw me in person, I am 6'7", right? Now, before you try to play and say, man, all 6 feet, if you over 6 foot, you can dunk. That's not the case. I know a lot of tall fellas, a lot of tall guys that can't dunk at 6 feet. Anyways, standing at 6'6" in high school, 6'7" now. I remember taking off from dang near the free throw line, dunking with 2 hands, right? And my coach stood there. This was actually my senior year, and this was his first year coaching. He looked and shook his head, man. And he said, man, I wish I had you for another year, right? He shook his head like, man, I wish I had you for another year. It was in that moment where he saw potential. Like he saw more. He saw more for me. And understand, it's not enough for others around you to see the potential in you. If you fail to see it within yourself, if you fail to look in the mirror and see what you could become, who you could become, it's going to be hard for others to pull you into a place that only you have access to, right? That potential that's on the inside of you, it gives you access to places. It gives you access to rooms. It gives you access to opportunities and spaces that others may not be afforded that opportunity. But if you fail to lean into that potential, if you fail to act upon that potential, come on, Newton, all y'all smart folks out there, man, an object that is in motion or uniform rest will remain in that state or condition until compelled to change its position, condition by an external force. Like in that, I call that kinetic, right? Having a kinetic mindset. If you don't have that kinetic mindset to act upon the potential so that you're able to move in soar in purpose, so that you're able to inspire others around you, like, yo, you will only live in potential state, right? You will only live in that state of potential where it's hard for you to manifest the things you really desire in your life, where it's hard for you to manifest the things that you really want to go after, but you're stuck in a place. You're stuck in a mindset. I told you before, like this journey for me, it was all about my mind. I really had to shift some things, man. I had to shift my mindset, and no one could shift it for me. No one can go into my mind, and I don't know if technology out there where they can go into your mind and start changing and then planting thoughts in your mind and all that. Yeah, about visuals or effects or whatever the case is. But I'm talking about to really go into your mind and start changing your habits for you, changing your patterns for you, changing and breaking those cycles for you. No, you have to do that. It's on you, right? So I had to take full responsibility of my life, full responsibility of the decision I've made in the past and the decision I'm going to make now. I make now and in the future, right? I had to take full responsibility and I had to make sure I didn't regret the decisions I made in the past, but learn from those things, man. Learn from those decisions. You know, once you get to a place like you start to grow in your mind, like you have this growth mindset, it's kind of hard for you to start going back, and we call it rumination in psychology. But when you start going back and thinking on those things, pulling those past memories to across the threshold of your reality, when you start to think of those things, you got to be careful because you can get stuck in rumination. My wife called it a ruined imagination, right? If you're not careful. But it's different when you begin to intentionally grow back, right? You intentionally go back to learn from your past experiences, learn from your journey so that you can paint a better future. You learn from your journey so you can paint a better future, man. I'm telling y'all, that was my journey. That has been my journey, and I'm still there. I'm still walking this thing out, man. I'm still walking this thing out. So I talk about the book, Potential to Purpose. This year, that book will be released, right? Y'all stay tuned for that. But then there's something called Elevated Thoughts Academy. I can't wait for the full launch of this school, man. And this vision is on me. It's going to be powerful. This school is Elevated Thoughts Academy is a transformational educational platform with a mission to help guide individuals from potential to purpose by empowering mindset elevation, right? I just want you to elevate your mind so that you can start to see differently. I just want you to elevate your mind so you can start accomplish those things you've always dreamed of. I want you to elevate your mind so you can start seeing yourself beyond the state, once again, of potential, and actually see yourself in a future that you've always dreamed of. But it takes a mindset elevation. It takes a changed position in your mind. When you start to change the position, Newton, an object is in motion, will remain in that state or uniform rest unless compelled to change its position or conditioned by the external force. I want to help you foster a kinetic mindset. I want to help you cultivate a kinetic mindset where you don't have to wait for an external force to push you into a position. You start there's something like a switch turns on in you or inside of your mind. You're like, wait a minute, I was born for this. I was created for this. Like there's purpose on the inside of me. Like there's a seed in me that's ready for kinetic to connect with it, right? That kinetic to connect with the seed so that it can sprout, so that I can inspire, so that I can make impact, like true impact, right? Something that I'm learning more and more, and I'm discovering more about myself is I love to pour into people. I love to help people get to a place. I love seeing people fall and begin to pursue purpose for real. That's a passion of mine. From the time I started playing the keyboard and creating atmospheres for God to come in and people to connect with God, from that moment to even me standing on stages where I'm speaking and leading people into a space where they can connect to the Most High. Like I enjoy helping people get to a place. Helping people get from a place of potential and moving into that, start moving and soaring in purpose, right? There's an analogy I use a lot, man, and I may use it throughout this entire season. The analogy of an eagle. When I was studying briefing on an eagle, something I found out is when it's at rest, it has the most potential, right? An eagle, when it's at rest, before it takes flight, it has the most potential. And something interesting I found is when that eagle takes off, it begins to take flight, it begins to soar. Man, it get to the right altitude, right? New potential is created. That messed me up, man. I never really studied the eagle before until now. But new potential is created when an eagle gets to a certain height and begin to soar. A lot of times we asking for more. We asking, we want to move. We want more. And it's only because we're seeing more around us. And all God is like, yo, I placed it on the inside of you. That more that you desire is already there. Just flap your wings, right? Just so I need you to get to an altitude, get to a place. I need you to elevate your thinking, elevate to a place where you're now getting away from the noise. Sometimes you could be caught up in the realm of noise where it's so noisy, it kind of disrupts your hearing, right? It's hard for you to hear and see where you're headed. That was me. I had to get to a place where I had to elevate myself, elevate my thinking, elevate my mindset so that I'm able to see exactly where I need to be in this moment in time, right? Something else I want to add, man, when we talk about purpose, and I really wanted to take this moment to just share and just pour what to look forward to. But when we talk about purpose, man, something I found out, purpose is being fulfilled every breath, every time you inhale, exhale, right? Purpose is being fulfilled. A lot of times we get so caught up on this pursuit to purpose, and we feel that purpose is a destination, and it's not, right? And there's another quote I use a lot, man. Purpose is not a destination, but it's a journey. When you learn to enjoy the journey, you begin to see purpose fulfilled, right, around you. You start living in purpose. You start breathing, inhaling and exhaling purpose. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm not just talking just to talk, but I'm telling y'all, like, this has been my experience, man. I had to change my perception. My perspective had to change. My worldview, it changed my worldview. The way I look at things now, it's so different, man. It's so different. It's so different. So I told y'all about the potential being in high school, and I found myself living from behind, right? I was always behind. I was always a step behind. For example, yes, I had a full ride scholarship, basketball scholarship, but that was only because of skills, like my ability to play above the rim and my ability to play the game. But it was different because I never fully tapped into the potential. Like, how far could I have gone, right? Could I have gone to the NBA? I don't know, because I didn't have the potential. I don't know, because I didn't have the kinetic mindset. I don't know, right? How far could I have gone? Going from high school to college, even being afforded the opportunity to play for the All-Navy basket. When I joined the Navy, I played for the All-Navy basketball team. But how far could I have gone? There are moments, sometimes I'll look back and once again, we talk about rumination. I don't want to get stuck in those places thinking about what could have, right? I use those as learning moments and pulling lessons, pulling the power from my experiences so that I can empower my now and help inspire those around me, right? But sometimes I would think, like, how far could I have gone if I had an Elevated Thoughts Academy? If I understood the power of the mind, if I understood that I had value and I have self-worth and my self-image, right? If I had the confidence, if I understand my innate strength, right? If I understood what it means to take full responsibility of my emotions, full responsibility of a fire, a burden, take accountability, like, what if, right? But we got to be careful not to live in a what if. We're going to live in it now, but only pull those experiences, pull the power, the lessons, right, from those experiences that empowers our now, so that we can move forward in purpose, so that we can soar in purpose, right? But I found myself playing for behind. I remember talking to a mentor of mine, and he was like, "Yo, bro, this is your time. Like, this is legit your time, right? This is your time. You must take, like, even playing basketball. I want you to take that hunger, that inner beast. Take that, and I want you to dunk on everybody." That's what my mentor told me. He said, "Dunk on everybody, bruh." And I need you to know that shifted me, because I've never had anyone like in my basketball journey, I never had anyone that would come to me and push me like that. Like, yo, dunk on everybody. Usually when I step on the court, I play from a place of skill set, right? Because I'm able to jump or play the game. Like, but it's different when you have someone in your corner telling you, like, yo, it's okay, dunk on them. It's okay, be great. In other words, that's what I took from that. Like, yo, go be great, man. Don't be mediocre. Like, be great. You're better than where you are. You better than what others around you are trying to paint you to be. Yo, be great. Be better. Be bigger. Play big. Right. That's something Kobe in one of his interviews said. He said, "Yo, he couldn't stand a big man who plays small." Right. And he was kind of he used Shaq as an example. He said, "Yo, like, if you're a big man, play big." You're right. No strength. Don't play small. And that was me. I found myself playing small. Like, I'm bigger than that, man. And I'm just in that space, man, when I just want to pour and just inspire the world. Like, if I want to inspire the world. I want to inspire those around me. Come on, InspireX, right? I want to inspire the world around me, man. This journey has been real. Yes, leaving my job was one thing, but that wasn't even the hardest thing. The hardest thing about me leaving my job was facing myself. Something I found out is I would use my job to hide, or I would use my job to avoid facing the things that I needed to deal with to get to that next place, right? I hid behind my job, man. It was easy. You mean to tell me all I got to do is clock in every morning and do my job? No, like it's different, man. When I left and I started seeing like the true me, like those things that I failed to deal with, like it's different. It's a different energy, right? It's a different feeling. It's different, man. It's different. So the whole purpose of InspireX is really like use real time stories to empower the next generation. Oh, man. I'm like the stories I'm hearing about how like are we really setting the next generation up for success? And right, I'm not trying to blame the generations. This ain't no blame game, but let's think about it like and from an individual standpoint, right? Let's talk about just on an individual level. Are you doing what it takes to inspire the next generation? For those of you that have children, are you doing what it takes to inspire your kids? I'm talking about are you really putting out the energy in the earth that's going to inspire? And if for those of you that don't have kids yet, or maybe you don't want kids, I don't know, but are you inspiring others around you, other young men and women? Is the question. And I'm going to be honest, I'm concerned, right? There's a brother of mine, he's 21. I had to make sure I get it right. 21. I think he just turned 22. Man, I had a conversation like when I first met this guy. This guy is phenomenal, man. This dude, he's dope, doing some great things in the earth, in the community. So I had a conversation with him, and he was like, yo, bro, I'm going to be honest. My generation needs you. Like he talked about some of the things that him and his generation lack, like that example, right? They don't see the example. He said, yo, bro, like what you have, my generation needs. In other words, like be you, be real, walk in that power, because it's going to inspire even my generation. I need y'all to know, like once I got off the phone with him, I sat on the stairs and I began to cry like, man, you get to a place where you try so hard you want to pour into your generation or even a generation that have gone before you, because you know you have something to pour, you know you have something of value. But it's different when another generation comes to you like, yo, bro, I need you to be you. Right, bro, I need you to get well. I need because my generation need the healed version of you. My generation need the real version of you. Like, be okay with being you. Be okay with being true, because in your truth, by you pursuing truth, it's gonna inspire. Like, it's gonna transcend generations. I'm talking about whether you write it in your book, podcast, video, whatever the case is. Like, there are people who are waiting for you. There are people who's waiting for your story, and not just because you went through it, I'm going to share it with the world. No, like people are waiting for the power of like transformation from your story, the transformative power, the transformative experience like from your story. That's what they're waiting for. That's what, once again, it's not about us. It's not about me. It's not about Sam. It's not about you who's listening, man, or who's watching. Like, it's about the generations. It's about making impact. It's about inspiring those around us in the generations to come. At the end of the day, like when you leave this earth, when you take your last breath, a scripture in Ecclesiastes talks about the clouds. When the clouds is full of rain, filled with rain, it empties itself onto the earth. I told myself, like, I want to leave here empty. I'm full. And I want to just pour. I want to pour into the earth. I want to pour into the lives of people. I want to inspire, right? It ain't about me. But in order for me to have gotten to this place in my life, guess what? I had to elevate my mindset. I had to elevate my thinking. I had to really find my identity. I had to find that power. I had to take full responsibility of the fire of burden that was burning on the inside of me. I had to really lean into the sound of purpose calling and resonating to me, pulling me into the right alignment. I had to lean into that. I had to lean into those ideals and the dreams and the visions I've been seeing. I had to lean into that. That way, the manifestation that hits this earth is huge. It's big. Why? Because I said yes to the process. I said yes to the process of becoming who I was always meant to be, right? Who I was always meant to be. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about this season of my life and of your life as well. I cannot wait to continue to share this journey with y'all. Once again, wow. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching InspireX Radio. And that's my time. I'm out. Let's go. Stop playing with me. Peace.